On June 13th, we will be getting a brand new 99 overall Legends and Flashback collection reward. So I want to give you guys my prediction for who I think this reward could be, and then go over what to expect and what you can be doing now to get ready, and also touch on which card series that you should skip, because similar to the Scott Rowland collection, I would assume that we'll be able to skip one card series collection, while still being able to actually obtain that 99 overall reward. When thinking about what position this reward could be, I think there's a few different ones that it could be, to be honest. I think the most likely would either be shortstop, second base, or like left field / right field. For a while, I was thinking that starting pitcher maybe could be the new collection reward, but the fact that they made the starting pitcher the May Lightning card, when they almost never make a Lightning card a starting pitcher, maybe makes me think maybe not that the new collection reward will be a starting pitcher. We'll see. We did just recently get Seager and Jeter, two very good shortstop options, so maybe that was on purpose, knowing we're not going to get another really good one here very soon. So I'm slightly less confident on that. Second base is possible, like I said, but I'm going to go with the left field option. Ted Williams right here only has an 85 overall card. That's his only card in the game right now. So again, I could be wrong with this prediction, but I think Ted Williams is an option. So let me know down in the comments below who you guys think this reward could be. Name, position, whatever. Let me know your thoughts about that. But like I said before, similar to the Rowland collection, I think we will be able to skip one of these card series collections while still being able to actually complete the new collection. And in a bit, I will give you guys which card series will make the most sense to skip. But before that, just to touch on something quickly, if there's probably a lot of you guys with older programs that you have not yet completed that still hold some of these cards that you're going to need for the big collection. So make sure you're coming through these, even the spotlight ones, right? The cornerstone ones. We're going to need those new cornerstone players. So make sure to have the cornerstone programs complete. The pipeline passed. I still have to do and get some of these cards. I'm definitely going to do that before June 13th. Even Diamond Quest. There's probably Diamond Quest cards in here that you guys will that you still need as more maps have been coming out. There's lots of players in there. I'm sure most of you need at least a few of them, so you can grind that, or you can buy them out, whether depending on how many stubs you have. But then coming back to, and just focusing on these mini collections right here, one thing I want to mention is that there actually is a new mini collection coming the week of the Legends and Flashback collection. I'm not 100% sure if it's coming on June 13th or if it's just coming a few days earlier, but there is a new one, another one, which I'm sure a lot of you guys do not like to hear, but that is coming here very, very soon. But then getting into the pipeline past one right here, we will need Seager, and we'll need to get up to 25 cards in order to get. Basically, Seager is going to be the voucher for the Pipeline Pass collection. This means you're either going to need Vlad or Schwarber, who are both very, very pricey. You can skip one of them, but you're going to need one of them in order to get up to 25 cards and get this Seager. Both are above 200K, so at this point, I would just focus on finishing off the Pipeline Pass program, getting some of these other cards, off the market, whatever. And I probably would not buy Vlad or Schwarber yet. And I would just hope that sometime soon, there's going to be more ways to earn these packs that hold Schwarber in them, because I do think this will bring down the price quite a bit. And they've been pretty good with putting in older packs back into the game for us to grind. So just be patient with it. Color Storm, though, you need the 15 cards, as we know, for the voucher. So get grinding on this now. If you're watching this within the first few days that I released this video, there's actually double PXP going on. So it's going to make the Color Storm grind easier. But yeah, stack your team with, if you're working on the Guardians, stack your team with full of Guardians, or, players from the Guardians and maybe one other team. Grind Conquest, whatever mode you want, and get going on that. And then Moonshot right here, there's going to be the Diamond Quest cards. So, if you need Diamond Quest, you need to complete the one Diamond Quest map. Newer one, the Moonshot one, go ahead and do that. There's the program. There's going to be some from mini seasons. There's going to be a lot that are in packs. However, a lot of these actually are pretty cheap now. You will need at least one of the expensive cards from Moonshot, which is either the Mullins, the Bichette, or the Candelario. Similar to Pipeline Past, I would expect the prices on these expensive ones to drop sometime soon, just whenever they add in more ways to be obtaining the packs that actually hold these expensive players. So I would expect, so that price on the Moonshot is a little bit pricey, not too bad though, especially compared to the Pipeline Pass and some of these others that we'll get to in just a second, including this one right here, All-Star, which is absolutely loaded with expensive cards. You'll pretty much need all of these cards too when that new reward actually drops. Like, you'll probably be able to skip a couple of them, but for the most part, you're going to need all of these cards. This is the one I skipped for the Roland collection. It was just way, way, way too pricey for me. So again, it's going to be another option to skip. We'll keep kind of bringing that up as we go along for which ones are the best to skip. All-Star, definitely an option for one that you could skip. Moving on to Egg Hunt, I mean, you're going to need DeGrom, right? You're going to need DeGrom, but I'm sure probably most of you have him, so I'm not really going to touch on that. The Negro Leagues mini collection right here, mostly going to come from the Jackie Robinson Day program, the storyline cards. So you guys probably either have that or, it's pretty simple to get that and to complete that. Same with New Threads. You guys probably have that done already too to get the Santander needed. Again, for Pipeline though, you will need the Sasaki card for the upcoming collection, Spring Breakout. All these are kind of just older ones, so kind of just skimming over them, not really going into much detail with these. The Jolt, these obviously are the diamond cards that came from the My Journey Team Affinity paths for teams. And I'm sure by now most of you probably have those Jolt cards. So then moving on to Contributor, you probably need all but maybe like one or two of these cards. And this one's not a joke. I would start thinking about this one because there's a bunch in here that are just like this Beltre's, 25, 30K, but like Angels Live Series collection reward right here. There's some collection rewards, a fair amount of them. Blue Jays right here. There is the Astros. A bunch of Live Series collection reward cards in here. There's a few that are from mini seasons, like this Canna right here. So I would start thinking about this one because, if you need to complete some of the collections, go ahead and do that. If you need some of these mini seasons cards, that's the only way to get them is from mini seasons. So get on that. There's some silver. There's some gold cards from TA and whatnot that are in here as well. But this is one I would start. This is one you could easily start preparing for because it is very collection heavy. It's very Team Affinity heavy and mini seasons heavy. So I would get going on that one now. Last Ride is kind of the exact opposite because there hasn't really been any cards that have come out recently. So if you completed this one for the Roland collection, I'm sure you're okay because I don't know when the last time a Last Ride card even came out. So I feel like you guys are probably chilling on this one. You're probably set here. 20th anniversary, I'm sure probably majority of you have this done already. The only one really to note here, if you don't, is the CC Sabathia because he is from mini seasons. That is the only way to obtain him from winning the championship in one of the mini seasons. So that one's really the only tricky one in there. Rookie is an interesting one because Devin Williams is new. That's the most recent new one. We haven't really been getting many, but the Dodgers Live Series collection reward is this Venezuela. Good luck if you don't have Ohtani yet because he is very, very expensive, as I'm sure you guys are aware. Braves Live Series collection reward in here as well. And then really it's just silvers and golds, right? So it's a couple, especially the Venezuela, super expensive cards, Devin Williams, and then some easy ones, easy gold and silvers that you can get just from grinding the game. So that one's tricky because you do need the Dodgers, right? And there's very few of those cards, so you probably need like all of them essentially. Helsley in Breakout is going to be, over 100K right now. He's going to be expensive. Whit Merrifield is the Royals Live Series collection. Obviously, that Bobby Witt is very, very expensive. So Breakout is tricky too because you have a couple really expensive ones at the top there, but then everyone else, Cubs I guess is pretty expensive, but maybe a lot of you have that done already. But again, not many cards in here in the Breakout series, but a couple really, really expensive ones, and you're probably going to need at least one of them. So prioritize all the other ones. Try your best to get one of the other ones right if you can. Otherwise, moving on to Veteran right here, you probably have most of these, as they're pretty much all like TA cards or cards from other programs that you can grind for. There's a couple that are Live Series collections, but Veteran, not too bad right here. I think you guys should be fine here and should be fine to complete it pretty easily, compared to some of these other ones. You might be able to skip one, not sure, but you're not really going to be able to skip much more than one, I would imagine. Second half heroes, if you have most of so NL West, Chase Headley, that's tough. But if you have most of the live series collections done, this second half really is not too bad. The most expensive card in here is obviously this Randy Johnson I'm showing you, other than like the live series cards too. As we have, let's see who else. Yeah, the Diamondbacks live series card is in here. So yeah, and as I said, the NL West. So NL West, that includes all of these teams. So NL West, Randy Johnson, going to be pretty pricey, but if you have live series done and all you need is Randy Johnson, you might be able to skip one card, right? And you could just skip Randy and have all the other cards. That won't be too bad if that's the case, if you do have the NL West complete. Postseason is one of the easier ones, honestly. Very, very cheap and easy. This Bernie Williams is like $20K, but other than him and then the Ryan Howard, who's the Phillies live series collection reward, those are really the only expensive ones that you need to care about. All these other ones are going to be cheap, or you have already, easy to grind for, or whatnot. So pretty simple with the postseason. So then the Standout collection is going to be easier if you have live series collections done. Otherwise, it's going to be very, very pricey, which I'll show you guys exactly why. So Springer right here is going to be pretty expensive. Not horrible, but pretty expensive, about $40K. Posada is going to be $100K. This Trevor Story, I think his price is going to go up. So if you guys do not have him, definitely pick him up. This Rengifo card, his price is going down, so I actually might scoop him up here very soon because his price is going down. I think it could jump back up again soon, but like I said about being pricey, AL East collection reward, and then the next one, AL West collection reward. So if you do not have these cards, it's going to be expensive, but I would buy up all the other Standout cards, like other than the Posada, but really all the other ones I probably would buy up. Some of these are going to be a little bit more affordable. The Yankees live series is right here, but again, if you have the Yankees done, you probably have the AL East done. And then, yeah, so this one's going to, Chris Bryant's a mini season card. So this one's pretty tricky, especially if you do not have the AL East or West collection rewards. And if you don't have the AL East and West done, you could consider skipping Standout as your one skip. But, if you do have them done, I would complete Standout for sure. Moving on to Spotlight, this one can also get pricey, although a lot of these cards have actually fallen down in price quite a bit the last week or two. So it is more affordable. However, even if these cards are 15 to 25K a piece, there's so many of these actually in here that it's going to add up, and it still will get pretty pricey. So you're probably going to be able to skip maybe 3 of these cards to get the voucher for Spotlight. But man, that's another expensive one, one to consider, I guess, for skipping, but maybe not in the end the one you would skip. But then moving on to Tops Now, again, a lot of cards in here. These cards are going to be pretty cheap, right? They're going to be like between $2,000 and $6,000 for the most part. I feel like at this point, I got to pick up some of these cards now that I'm looking into it now even more. And yeah, so there's just a lot of them. They're pretty cheap, but that price is going to add up again too. I don't think Tops Now is worth skipping because there are so many of them in the Spotlight programs. So definitely get going on the Spotlight programs if you're a little bit behind. Moving on to Cornerstone, you're going to need those new Cornerstone players that we just got. When the collection actually updates for the new Legends and Flashback collection. So definitely get those new Cornerstone programs done. That's something I will get done in the next few days as well, so I'm ready. This one, you're obviously not going to want to skip. Very easy, those Cornerstone programs, so definitely worth just doing and whatnot. But coming back to which ones we should skip, All-Star is, I feel like the way I'm leaning for which one I'll skip, just because of the quantity of All-Star cards and the prices on all of them, because really all of them are expensive. Standout's another one, as I mentioned before, that could be worth skipping because of the AL East and West collection cards right here. And then you also have the Posada is very expensive, and there's just very few Standout cards that you're basically going to need probably all but maybe one of these cards to get the Standout voucher. So, it's just an option, right? It's up to you. Whatever your inventory is looking like, you can kind of make that decision whether Standout's the one to skip or not. But All-Star, Standout, and then Pipeline Past, I feel like, is the other one that you could end up skipping in the end because, as I said before, you're going to need one of either Schwarber or Vladimir Guerrero Jr., and both of them over 200K. I do think those prices could fall down. We'll see, but just something to think about right there. So those are just my thoughts about the new upcoming collection, what to expect, what I have my mind on as we head into this collection, which is going to be a really, really good reward. I know it's going to be very, very expensive, which is frustrating for all of us, but it is what it is. Eventually, we will be able to unlock this card. And let me know down below if you guys have any guesses for who this new reward could be. Any other thoughts, drop those down below. That's going to be it for the video, though, guys. I appreciate all of you for sticking around to the end and watching this one. See you next time. Peace out.